Okay, we'll call Select Board meeting to order. Please join us to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Do we have anyone on Zoom, Mike?
We do, and I can write those names down, but Martha Clifford's on, Mary Droege, Matt Ryan, Nancy Mark, Boutwell, imagine it's Nedra, and that's it.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
Make a motion, we approve the agenda as presented.
Is there a second?
Second. Discussion.
Seeing none. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. The agenda is approved. Moving on to the minutes, 6/26/23.
I'll make a motion, we approve the minutes of June 26, 2023 as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Corrections?
Am I missing again?
I don't,
This time I don't see it on the Zoom either. And I've only been on Zoom.
I don't
I
see
do
you
recall
there.
you being here.
I don't see
Weren't you here?
Yeah, I'm sure I was here.
So that's our first correction, is that we have to put you on the present list.
So we added that, right? Added Mary Lee, okay.
Anything else, Mary Lee?
Anything
No,
else? Mary
that's
Lee?
the only
No?
thing.
Dick,
I'm good.
you're good. Joe,
They're fine.
you're fine?
Yes,
Okay.
they're fine.
All those in favor of approving the minutes with the correction indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. Citizens' comments or concerns, issues not on the agenda. Anyone who wishes to address the board on items not on the agenda? Anyone on Zoom?
Anybody on Zoom want to address the board for an item not on the agenda? Please unmute yourself and let us know your name. Nancy Mark's still trying to get in, but I'm assuming no.
Okay, we all set? All righty, we will move on. Former Castleton Village School discussion, Zach Hale.
Hello, Zach Hale, Bennington, Vermont. Mary, how you doing? Everyone else? So I just wanted to come and propose an idea for the Castleton Village School. I'm really looking for feedback at this point, and from the select board and also the community. I think we've come up with a creative idea, and it is my understanding that everyone on the board has one of these drawings. Is that correct?
Well, I just got mine.
You just got yours, so.
Just got mine,
I
Zach.
have these extra copies, maybe I'll just pass them out.
Sure,
That's okay?
certainly.
Or, just hand them out and then just pass them around. I think there's about 10 copies there. So, just to kind of walk through the programming here, talk about the project and what we're envisioning. Right now, the wrestling program, which was I was a part of while I went to Castleton, is really kind of pushing me to help them find a wrestling facility, which I am very happy to do. And that was kind of how this got on the radar. So getting involved and kind of paying attention and being at select board meetings, I also recognize that this is a very important asset to the community, and there's a lot of energy and support around keeping this and using this for the town and recreation. So we are proposing having a wrestling facility, and then also having the town utilize the gym and the stage as for recreation. And then also having a childcare facility, which also came about because there was interest in that in the past, and trying to just figure out how that could work. I know that there was some interest in that, so we're kind of taking all of these ideas, and this is where we're at today. I've gotten feedback since this was created, just on details, but really interested to know if this is something that the select board would consider as something they'd consider for the rec center. and to get any feedback.
Questions for Zach from the board?
So it's a little hard to read the legend, Zach,
Yeah.
and the typing, but could you just describe the uses of the 3 or 4 color areas?
So the yellow space is 7,855 square feet. That is proposed, I guess it would be Castleton, town of Castleton space, utilized by the rec department. The red space is 6,274 square feet. That would be wrestling facility, with where those former classrooms were. We're looking to take down those walls in between and make that about 4,000 square feet of just wrestling mat. And then there would be a locker room, an office, a lounge, and some showers for the team as well. The green space on the right there is 8,065 square feet. That would be a childcare facility is what we're proposing. It would have toddlers and pre-K and infants. And the remaining space of 803 square feet is just common space, because that would be access for the wrestling facility and also be the handicap accessible access for the recreation.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
And if I could follow up, Zach, can you describe the egress and entrance
Yeah.
plan?
So the main entrance there, over there on Mechanic Street, that would be maintained as the main entrance for the childcare. And then if
That's
you-
on the left-hand side of the,
Right.
yeah, all the way to the right-hand side on the green space.
okay, right.
And so that would be the main entrance for childcare. There would be 3 other exits of that space. One of them would be directly across the way into what is now kind of like a courtyard area. And we'd be looking to put a playground area out there for the childcare facility. And then there would also be an exit into that space directly from a classroom. After that, there's then that other exit door from the childcare space in the front of the building, which is just really there for another means of egress that is separate, which is required by code. Directly right next to that, there would also be an egress door for the wrestling facility, also a code, needed for code because it's a certain distance away from the entrance that is all the way to the left there with the blue space. And so that would be a common entrance for both the rec center and the wrestling facility. And it would be for the rec center in terms of using that handicap accessible ramp in the middle of the building. And then there would also be the entrance over at the top left there. That could be the main entrance for the rec center. Although they could use either one. It really wouldn't matter. There's stairways the other one. And then we would be adding also the entrance on the stage there, or exit really on the stage there. Just because we felt that it was a very long way for someone who was in a wheelchair on that stage, because there is a lift to actually get out of this building if they're up there, so we are also incorporating that.
Thank you very much.
Other questions for?
2 specific questions. The emergency exit on the stage level, would that be ADA compliant, obviously?
Yeah, and actually what we determined is that is pretty close to grade up there.
Okay, I thought it would be, but
Yeah, I think it's a little bit higher, so we might have to have a small ramp or adjust the grade.
I think that would be essential, don't you?
Yeah,
That
I
it be
think that
ADA
has to be
compliant?
there. Oh, yeah, absolutely, definitely ADA, yes.
The sec-
That's actually the purpose of it, so.
The second thing, in what is currently classroom 11, or the staff training room in the current drawing, which you have as a lounge area, there's an exit there now that's at pretty much grade level.
Yeah.
And I don't know, and this just shows a window there. Were you going to eliminate that exit?
Yeah, we were planning to eliminate that exit just because that was going to be childcare playground space. And so there wasn't really a need for anyone to exit into that space other than the the childcare.
Yeah, the only concern I would have is, would that window there be egress capable, though, if there was an emergency situation, so
Yeah,
somebody could
absolutely,
bail?
would make it, yeah, egress.
Because
Yeah.
there's always needs to be two ways out.
Yeah, and we were just talking about like making maybe that an opaque window that you can't see through, but in case of a fire, being able to get through it, a firefighter without their gear, yeah.
Well, either a firefighter get in or a human being get out.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, overall, I like the concept, just so you know, I certainly am willing to engage in conversation with this. So, let's start kicking some ideas around.
Yeah, that'd be great.
The first thing that, and I don't know, this might be premature, but you would, the yellow area that the town would have to use, would that be leased? Let me restart over. Would you be planning on purchasing this building, being responsible for the renovations and maintenance, and then leasing that space via some mutually agreeable agreement to, back to the town?
Yeah, that I would be looking to purchase the building and then have a long-term lease with the town, yes.
And then whatever you do with the childcare thing is your business and we stay out of that?
Yeah, that's correct.
It works for me, okay. I'm done for now, Jim.
Okay, Dick. Mary Lee?
Just a couple questions. Is Teresa Brannick interested in the childcare?
Tirsa is the person I'm working with on the childcare facility, yes.
Okay. Now, when we get over to the gym, I see you've got it, some removable wall type things. Wouldn't that take away from as far as basketball or anything?
Yeah, so one of the things that I got for feedback on this and kind of understanding what the rec department would need, there was a lot of interest in the classrooms, and there just wasn't enough space in the building to utilize those classrooms for rec. So I heard that there were situations of like having spinning class and maybe a yoga class at the same time, and wanting to separate those two things and have them separate. So, or I think too, in the summers, there's like camps with different age groups that it's nice to have the ability to separate them into different classrooms. And so the idea and the thinking behind this was that these would actually be something that could just come down from the ceiling and separate the space. And so we've incorporated 3 of them in the gym, which you could have the gym wide open, or you could, my vision is that you could hit a button and there's a divider that comes down from the ceiling, and now you could have 2 spaces, or you could do another 2 dividers, and then you could have actually 4 equal spaces. And we were also thinking of that on the stage as well, which would then give you up to 6 spaces that you could have that were kind of separate and by themselves, so they could just kind of have that separation.
Thank you.
And I would also mention additionally too, there wasn't a lot of space for storage, but there is underneath the stage, there's some doors, and so we could incorporate some type of track system where you can put stuff on a platform and be able to put that under the stage, because I know that with rec there is a lot of need for storage as well. And again, this is just, the ideas right now, and so I would like to better understand what the rec department would need in order to operate this facility, so we can try to make that stuff work, so.
Do you have a copy of the proposal that the rec department presented?
I do have a copy of that, yes.
Okay. Mike?
The ramp that's in the building now, is it current, if you do a change of use of that building, would that ramp work now, or does it have to be changed?
The current use, that is like the next step, is to check all of these codes and everything and really dig into those details. At a first look, it does appear as though we will be okay with the way that it currently exists. I'm looking to better understand that this is something that I can have the architects move forward with before we start really digging into all of that information and getting people there to answer those questions, like the fire marshal.
I had a second question, Mr. Chairman.
That's it.
If this space that's in the yellow that's being proposed, let's say is not adequate, and all this other building space is being utilized, have you given any thought to what else could be done to accommodate the rec program?
if we didn't utilize the yellow space as rec?
No, they currently kept that as rec, but they said, we need more classroom space, it's not enough. Is there
Yeah.
any other options that you would look at or consider?
The only other considerations that we've had in terms of expanding the space for rec would be maybe putting an addition on the building. And there's the space behind the building that there's a possibility of adding that. It would come with a cost, and we would have to figure out a way to make that happen. So, but it's not impossible.
No, thank you.
Joe?
Zach, is thinking about these dividers that you've envisioned here, I've had some experience with movable walls over my career, and sometimes they don't get moved because they're inconvenient or they get stuck or something of that sort. Are you familiar with this particular type of drop-down divider that you had in mind? And are there examples of that in the state that we could look at?
The only one that I am familiar with and have envisioned is the one at the Mount Anthony High School, which was, it was one that rolled down, and it seemed to always, it seemed very convenient to use. You just hit a button and it was easy. I know that requires maintenance and everything, so.
Thank you.
we would be building that in.
Any other questions from the board?
Not at this point, but
No? Okay.
this is a hip shot, so we gotta get the conversation going, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Mike?
Utilities, I had a question for Zach on utilities. If there's a town gets a lease, however that looks at, would it be a cost sharing for the cost of utilities for the building?
Yeah, that we would expect to have a triple net lease and the utilities paid for based on square footage and everything. So.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? Okay, Zach, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well.
Are there any
Thank you.
questions in the audience?
I'll have to make this a little larger so I can read it.
I got it.
Okay.
Jim,
What?
is there any questions from the audience?
Well, anyone have a question for Zach? Yes, Mary? Mary McIntyre.
Mary McIntyre, Castleton, Vermont. Zach,
Can you come to the podium, please, Mary? Thank you.
Zach,
Just
can
for
you
the recording.
Can you just explain to us, again, like Jim, I'm having a little trouble reading this. Can you just explain to us what these rooms are as you're going down the gym to the left? It looks like I know there's a kitchen there, right now, but it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 rooms there. Can you explain what those are?
Yeah. Thank you for bringing me back for the details. I appreciate it. So there's 2 different levels here in terms of all of these rooms. One is up high where the wrestling facility would be, and you would take these stairs or the ramp in order to get to the bathrooms. So there are 3 bathrooms that are at the top of the stairs in that space. There is 3, right? Yeah, there's a smaller one, and then there's 2, the handicap one, and then there's 2 other ones. Women's, and I can provide Karen with this so that people can look at it online and zoom into it and be able to read all this detail much clearer. So then the other space is the kitchen currently and the boiler room, which are at the end of that the gym. We were thinking taking the kitchen and moving it out a little bit to accommodate an office, because we also heard that there was a need for 2 different offices for staff positions here. So office here, kitchen here, and then the other office, just to mention it while I'm here, would be up on the stage.
So, well, you were here.
Yeah.
So, as the gym is laid out right now, so you're gonna, I don't see any bleachers, so those are gonna be removed?
No, I mean, unless it would be the town space to do what they would want with the space. So if you want to keep the bleachers, then you keep the bleachers. If not, then you can remove them. It was just, trying to get this done so we can come and have this preliminary conversation. And as this develops, we'll have more details like that within here.
And then dimension-wise, you've seen the layout of the basketball court.
Mm.
How is that being adjusted? Because it looks like these walls on the end. So is that going to be able to be a full-fledged basketball court as it lies right now?
Yeah, this is actually wouldn't change at all in terms of what is existing. This is just, these rooms are currently here right now.
Okay.
Yep, so no, not changing the gym at all in this, other than putting those dividers up on the ceiling so that they could come down.
Okay, and how would that affect, because it looks like those walls drop down and it looks like it might come down right in the middle of where the basketball hoop would be coming down? So how would that work?
Yeah, those are certainly details that we would need to evaluate as we move forward, so.
Because
but-
I think for rec, we want this to be a gym.
Yeah, no, this is, so you can either
I'm not
bring the,
being-
no, I clear that, I just wasn't clear enough
Yeah.
if you're asking that question. So you can put these dividers down and you can have four separate rooms in the gym, or you can put the dividers up and you can have the gym just like it is today. So it provides both options, but the gym would be the gym so that you can have basketball, pickleball, like all of that would still be possible here. You'll just also have the option of separating it into 4 separate rooms.
And with this modification, would you be putting down a new gym floor?
That would really be up to the town and whether or not we could raise, I mean, there's grant funding out there to do that, so I don't think that is unfeasible, but, we'd have to look into all of that and determine whether or not that
Well, I
we could
just
raise
know
that
that you're
funding.
doing modifications in the rest of the building, so I wondered what we were getting. If we're gonna sell the building to you, what are we getting?
Yeah.
If we're leasing it from you, so that's what I'm asking. I can ask for the moon, right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is the time to do so.
Right, so, if you're gonna put these walls down, so obviously you were investing, because that wasn't, is that your money, or is that the town's money, these walls that drop down?
Those are details to be determined, so we haven't come up with the funding yet, or the operational cost of the building, or the revenue, those are all things that if we all feel comfortable with this layout, then we will start looking at those details, and we will be back very soon to have those conversations and dig into those details. So I'm not looking for answers on that, or even the select board to vote to sell this building. I think those need to have, we need to have conversations around that, and I'm here doing this publicly because I want everyone's input and these questions to be raised. So.
I appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Mary.
Yep, thank you.
Another question for you, Zach, don't go away.
I'm Pat Schrader from Castleton, and I just had a question maybe for Zach. Why do you need 4,000 feet there for wrestling? Is there a reason for that?
Might as well stay there, Zach.
You got it. So currently, the wrestling program has, next year they plan to have 55 student athletes on the team. And currently they have 2 mats and a very small wrestling room. And they don't have quite enough space with all of that. So 4,000 square feet is the amount of 2 wrestling mats, and they feel as though this would meet the needs that they currently have. Right now they're using Shape Gym, and they're rolling out 2 mats every day and rolling them back up, and it's a little bit challenging with the level of the facility that they have right now to attract those really great wrestlers with some of the other facilities that other schools have. So this is an opportunity to grow the program and meet some other accreditations with the wrestling team, and also possibly have start a girls program, is because there would be this other room. So, not speaking for the school on all those things happening, but that is the potential with something like this, and the 4,000 square feet is definitely needed.
Well, currently there's 50 plus kids in the summer program, so we have kids too. Now, I have a question. if we were planning to use the gym for, say, AAU basketball, and there's no locker rooms available, what do we do? Because this is a locker room. There's 2 bathrooms here, but they're single. There's a handicapped and then just one general. But there would be no shower areas available for females or males with this particular plan.
And so that is something that you need, is you plan to do AAU basketball, and you would need 2 different men and women's locker room.
Right.
And
Because teams come from all over for that.
and where do those happen now?
Well, they used to happen here, and that's what we'd like to try to bring back.
Okay.
Be that tradition. Now, I would just say, what about just taking some of that space in this area, and because there are classrooms there that could be utilized by rec, and that would give more space that way. It would cut your area in half, but,
Right.
you know,
I can
this really isn't enough space for office areas plus working areas and different activities. That's my concern.
Yeah, I can say that if we cut the wrestling facility in half, then that would not work for they need the 4,000 square feet. Is what that's like the bottom number. And you know, without the wrestling program, I don't know that we make all of this work. Because having the 3 tenants seems to be a little bit more feasible.
And I just have a comment to the board, because to me, it seems like the town would be silly to lease a space in a building that they currently own. That's my opinion.
Thank you, Pat.
Mr. Chairman, we got some people on Zoom that want to ask a question.
Can I ask Zach a question first?
Yeah, sure, Dick.
Just a quick question, Zach. This wrestling facility, would you be having competitions there, or is this just a workout?
This is just for practice.
Practice and workout? So the competitions will still happen up at Glenbrook?
Yeah, that's correct.
So, because I was wondering about parking. Okay. And guest facilities.
Okay, individuals on Zoom, please identify yourself.
So we got Mary Drogi, can you go first, and then Martha?
Sure. My name is Mary Drogi, and I'm speaking for myself. I'm not speaking for any group that I may be associated with or part of. But I just think it's really important for Mr. Hale and Mr. Hale to understand clearly that there are a lot of citizens in this town that will petition the sale of this building, as we have a right under Vermont state statute. And we will win, because the town has voted twice to keep this building as a town building for rec. So I think it's really important that you understand that.
Thank you, Mary.
And that will happen. That will happen, and we will win. The last time the town voted, in March, it was 3-2. Two-thirds in favor of spending $90,000 to keep this building going for 1 year for rec, which is unheard of for this town to agree to spend that much money in 1 year for the rec in this building. There's been a tremendous amount of support that's been built as we've advanced pickleball and indoor walking and indoor activities that we've never been able to offer before. And we're not going to give up this opportunity. We're not going to be regulated to the gym, and no classrooms, and no offices. And there's no reason in the world why the town can't own this building and get the money from other people who are interested in leasing it. It's ridiculous for this town that says we have to be frugal and worry about the taxpayers to then turn around and pay rent forever for space that we now own.
You all through, Mary?
I am through, and I think it should be really clear to them that this isn't going to be easy. We're going to challenge them every step of the way that we legally have the right to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Martha Clifford.
Okay, I echo Mary's comments there, but I have a specific question to Zach, and I'm not sure if I missed it or not, but how many wrestlers are there?
Next year, they plan to have 55 wrestlers on the team.
Okay. The other piece is merely a comment, and I'm going to say it for what it is that I've been with REC for 30 some odd years, and I have tried to be a cooperating partner with the select board every inch of the way, and I found out about this meeting yesterday, and I'm a little bit taken back by not having the same courtesy given to REC, and that we be working partners. It's hard for me. I don't even have the printout in front of me, so I have a sense of what Zach's talking about, but not a real picture of it. So I would appreciate it if somebody would send me a copy of that. I'm done.
Thank you. Shall we move on?
One more, Jim.
One more? Yes,
Yeah, I might just,
you're next, Bo.
yeah, I'll just stay up here.
Now, is this your report, or what is this?
No, just a follow-up question, a couple comments.
Okay.
Well, actually, they're all just comments, and I appreciate, Zach, that you've emphasized multiple times that this is a preliminary conversation, so I would really appreciate that we do honor the spirit of that being a preliminary conversation and that it doesn't end like this, because this is a loss for REC, unfortunately, but where we're starting from, because I'm very aware that we started with a strong bargain. We started with what we thought we needed and heard back that that was maybe a touch greedy, doesn't seem like the right word, but through grapevine anyway. So, but I think that if we do continue this conversation and we do meet somewhere in the middle, I'm just going to point out a few things. One is that if we are going to be paying rent, which it seems like kind of a silly idea, but to pay rent back, I would like for it to be something maybe honoring the condition that REC's been in for so long and the real uphill battle that it's been. I've only witnessed it for about 6 months and it's been a slog, and I know that there's been months and years before that trying to grow REC. So to see this really tight space, like trying to make it work, it's just not, that's going to maintain youth sports. That's going to maintain youth sports. And I'm not sure how that's going to grow community programming. But where I was going with the concept of renting back, releasing back, if we're talking about square footage, I would like us to revisit how much of this is dead square footage for us. Because the boiler room, we could rework that, but that's still a big what if and a big space that's being taken up, as well as the stairs and the ramp area. And then if we're considering the quote-unquote kitchen area, yeah, it could be reworked into a kitchen. That, I really advise not making that an office, because this is a depressing, no-window office space. So do something else with that. Just my comment. And I know we're workshopping. We're totally workshopping here. I'll try not to get into the specifics because I know that that's not what this conversation's about. But boiler, sad office, dead square footage. Oh yeah, up on this stage, I'm figuring that that's the space that we're going to be using most for that extracurricular, that not necessarily athletic. I'm assuming that's where we would have, like arts and crafts classes and such. I'm assuming that's also where we're going to be trying to shove in summer camp, which is
50 kids this week.
Yeah, we got a few summer camp folks here, and
50 kids this week. Last week we had 25.
Okay, excuse me, Bo has the thing. You're going to finish up now, Bo?
to echo
Okay.
Becky's statement there, we have 50 kids there this week, and it's using up fully 3 classrooms, and they should have used more, but Becky was working with me on sharing the gym space with our pickleballers, which is already a little bit of a pickleball havoc. So I'm just saying, like, if we want to even keep our summer camp, we're going to have to rework this.
Thank you,
That's pretty
Bo.
much all I got to say on that.
I think we're behind in schedule. I think we'll have to move on. The next item is a select board letter regarding Hubbardton and the CVS. I believe this is a matter that will be taken up in executive session
I think I got skipped.
because of possible pending litigation.
Are we skipping my rec report?
Pardon?
No, that's next on the agenda. Bo.
You next, don't go anywhere.
That's next on the agenda
You're
after
next.
the Hubbardton
Okay,
discussion.
all right, I'll sit down.
Okay, you're up again, Bo. Said don't go anywhere.
Is this a joke? All right, this is what I call a power high. We'll get to the end of my rec report here in a moment, Jim. So I'll go through the numbers here. You have it in front of you. Through adult rec, we continued with indoor walking, adult pickup pickleball, and adult yoga. Pickup pickleball really took off with adding Castleton to Playtime Scheduler, which is a website that pickleball fans use. So we've now had regular pickleball happening every session. If you wanted to add another session, you could, and you would have regular attendance. They would be ready to add another session. So that's just a real sign of how good and active we have adult rec participants and that desire for it. I can't keep up with it. I'm the bottleneck. So indoor walking, it petered out. It's summer, it's hot. No one even really knows that we are still doing indoor walking. 10 participants throughout the month. They're real great friends. They became great friends. I don't recruit my friends for stats. And then, so pickup pickleball, we had 4 sessions per week, adding 1 per week in July with 76 participants. I'll speed it up. All in, we got about 150 adult rec participants. Youth rec, we finished up softball, and we just started open studio, which is continuing in July. We only had 2 sessions of that open studio and had 14 participants. They were really, really sweet and loved it. 34 youth rec participants all in. Community support events, 4th of July, the planning of that, that was what was going on in June in the after party. We started garden club meetings, kind of impromptu. It was kind of part organic, part there was kind of a project to tackle, so we started that. We've had few participants in the meetings, but a growing list, and now email list of folks that are interested. Several meetings were attended. Throughout June, most of what a lot of what I was doing kind of behind the scenes that you don't see up here is the registration process for Summer Adventure Camp, which we just mentioned, sailing camp and tennis camp, which are all now started in July. This was all happening while we were transitioning to HayGov, which is kind of, it's been challenging. So I hope the community continues to be patient with us, because eventually it will get much simpler, but for right now we're experiencing the growing pains of that. And then finally, I have had some ongoing conversations with Mike, and I've decided to step back because this is bonkers for me, and I'm going crazy, and it feels pretty dang lonely. So I'm stepping back, but I'm just switching hats because I really care about rec, and I care about this. This hopefully will see some changes. I'll have ongoing conversations with Mike. I've been super supportive of how compassionate he's been trying to understand my experiences. Unfortunately, it's just not, I see everyone's really strapped, and there's just not enough time, enough hands for me to feel like I'm not going to drop a lot of weight on people. And toxic masculinity makes it really hard.
Thank you, Bo. Questions for Bo from the board?
I'm good.
You were good. Okay, we'll move on. Planning Commission appointment, Jim Thomas, 1-year term to expire June 30th, 2024. Is there a motion?
I was just going to ask if there was an opportunity to thank Bo
Certainly.
for their service.
Certainly.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bo. We appreciate it.
Mr. Chairman, can I have just a second?
Go ahead.
So it's unfortunate that we have to hear this resignation.
I believe that might be something that's handled in executive session. It's a personnel matter.
Well, it was brought up.
Well, Bo made his statement, but as far as the board's concerned,
Well,
it's a
I'm just
personnel
saying,
issue.
It's unfortunate. I can say that. But in any event, I do think that as our select board member, we really need to listen. I've heard again and again about this rec facility being a burden on the backs of the taxpayers. We're taxpayers. We want a rec center. We want a rec center. We're making it very clear. We need some cooperation.
You're getting cooperation. The recreation department presented their proposal. Zach has presented his proposal. Someone made a suggestion that could be worked in a cooperative manner. Hopefully, that's what will be done for the taxpayers of the town. Does that answer your question?
I just made a statement.
Okay. All through, Mary? Thank you. Moving on to Planning Commission appointment, Jim Thomas, 1-year term. Is there a motion?
Before I make the motion, the term would expire on June 30th, 2024, is that correct?
That's correct.
It's right here. That is letter would say, yes, it's on the agenda. Yeah, 30 June 2021.
Then I will make a motion that we appoint James Thomas to a 1-year seat on the Planning Commission to expire on June 30th, 2024.
Second?
And a second. Any discussion? Excuse me, Mary Lee.
Just one.
Sure.
When he goes south, is there going to be any problem with him zooming or however?
No, he understood that. He's willing to zoom into the meetings.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Moving on. Update permit fee structure, working in the town right-of-way. Was $5, proposed $50, which would be the same as a driveway cut increase. Mike, do you have any comments on that?
The only comment I have is, there's been a lot of work that's been done in the right-of-way without our permission. And even with our permission, they don't follow our instructions, and the towns, we end up chasing people around, trying to get costs back. So, I mean, I don't have an issue with the increase, or proposing the increase, but I think we also have to have some form of a better form of following up besides sending letters to people saying you violated the agreement, and then we spend money on attorneys chasing them down as well. So I haven't got an answer for it right now, but it's something I've been thinking about is how to handle this. But I don't think $50 is outrageous.
Okay. Any other questions for Mike?
What is the work that town staff have to do related to this?
Initially, it's usually 1 or 2 site visits with the contractor, typically. Then we have the admin personnel that have to handle the money, and then we have to go back out and inspect it when they're done. So we have more than $50 of man or personnel hours involved in this. So that's kind of what we're like. It's not. It seems like a big increase, but as far as what it's costing us in time and labor, fuel and vehicles and all that stuff, it's way more than $50.
So what type of work are we, describe to me what type of work occurs in our right-of-way that we have to monitor?
People drive, like they put one big one on Johnson Spooner was the house on this side of the road, septic's designed on this side of the road. They had to go underneath the road. We asked them to follow these criteria. They didn't, and the road's sagging. Now we're stuck chasing around trying to correct the problem and get the road fixed. Working in the right of way, if they're putting in drainage, those kind of things but most of it's across the road stuff.
Okay.
Are you saying this is because they didn't follow procedure?
Correct.
And that's why it's sagging?
Have we approached the property owner regarding the repairs?
We have not. We sent a letter to the property owner. I personally contacted the contractor, and they have radio listening silence. They're not responding.
They're gone.
Well, they're not there. Yeah, they're in Vermont, but they're not there anymore.
Yeah, that's what I meant, yeah.
So now the landowner is holding the bag on this.
Yeah. Well, if it's not the landowner, it's then the taxpayers.
I mean, if it gets to a point where the road is impassable or something
Sure.
like that, it's not that it's impassable right now, but if that fails because of drainage and the way they put it in, and it keeps sagging, we're gonna be up there tearing the road apart and doing more.
Okay. Any other questions for Mike on this? Is there a motion?
I would move that we raise the fee for an application to work in town right-of-way to $50.
I'll second that.
A second. Discussion?
I guess the only question is
Sure, Joe.
effective when?
How about
Effective
effective
as-
upon passage?
Effective as soon as the forms can be modified.
See, if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to give 30 days notice to the public about, we'll
Sure.
announce it.
Certainly.
So,
That seems fair.
we can say middle of August.
Okay.
August 12th.
Yep.
In other words, if I hurry, I can do it for 5?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's happened in other places.
Get right on.
With the driveway cut.
Okay, all those in favor of the motion indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Well, here's the one we gotta make sure we get it right.
Set the municipal tax rate, accept the homestead and the non-homestead education assessment. See the low and high penalty rate for the late homestead declaration filing. Mike, you have something on this?
Yeah, actually, you have this is gonna be a first cut at this. I spoke with Melanie today. Rather than come back to the board if there's any BCA grievances that go before the BCA, then we have to amend this. What I'm recommending is we hold off to the 24th. I talked to Melanie, because it's about timing of when the tax bills go out.
Yep.
That we have enough time to take care of that. But, so I would say, what you would see is if anything, it's gonna be a smidgen, because I don't think the grievances are gonna be huge. How it would affect this rate, but, so you got a kind of general sense of what the municipal tax rate is. We know where the education tax rate is, so there might be just a smidgen adjustment, and we talked about some revenues as well. So, I guess, April Fools, you got kind of a gist of it, but I'll come back to you on the 24th to make sure that's totally accurate.
And there's not a problem with getting the bills out? We can,
No,
we're okay?
No, that's why I asked, so it makes it tight, but not undoable.
Okay.
So we need to table this, or do we
Just
just
table.
ignore it?
I guess I'll give you as a draft.
Okay. Just so the public's aware, the municipal rate is actually gonna go down a little bit. Not a lot, but a little. A couple tenths of a penny.
And the homestead education rate, what will happen to that?
Well, that's a different story. That's, I still don't understand just how all the mathematics behind that.
You know what the bottom line is, though.
The bottom line is the homestead education rate will change from $1.4065 to $1.4623. And the homestead rate will change from 1.619 to 1.7351. So in round numbers, the homestead rate goes up 12, non-homestead rate goes up 12 cents, and the homestead rate goes up 6.
Okay, thank you.
And we don't control that at all.
No, we do not. Okay, we'll move on if there's not a problem here. Proposed health insurance rate increase for small towns. We have shall we say, a flyer in here on that?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, this was just kind of informational only. We know that we faced a 12.75% increase in healthcare benefits last fiscal year. Now we're looking at, they're trying to raise it again, and the league is out there beating the drum that if towns would like to take a stance on this or send a letter saying that enough's enough kind of thing, that you could do so. There's enough time to react to it, but they want the public comment, submit a public comment by July 24th to bring attention to the healthcare affordability. So if the board chooses and they want me to work with you as a chairman or one of you to craft up some language, we could send that in support of saying we don't support these continued, they were talking 12%.
No, they're talking, we're under Blue Cross Blue Shield, correct?
We are Vermont.
Yeah, so that's 14.5% is what they're proposing for a change.
So,
It
yeah.
was 12.7 last year.
12.75 last year, yes.
12.75 last year, 14.5 this year.
If this is approved, how will it impact our budget?
Well, obviously, that's a pretty forward answer that under benefits, it's gonna raise the cost that everyone pays in taxes for employee benefits.
Okay. Would someone care to make a motion? I would move that we authorize the chairman and the manager to collaborate on a document to be sent to the Green Mountain Care Board expressing the Select Board's concerns about the proposed rate increases submitted by by Blue Cross Blue Shield. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Is there discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Conveyance of a private road to the town of Castleton. Attorney Kerry Kupferer. I don't believe Kerry's here tonight. I believe the usual procedure in something like this is to have the highway foreman, which we don't have at this time, but the director of public works and town manager to investigate the situation and come back to the board with recommendations.
I've looked at it, Mr. Chairman, already, but I haven't brought Dave into the mix, so I will do that and then come back to the board with a recommendation for that small portion right now of what's owned by Joe Howard.
Okay.
Well, I do have a question. The memo, the letter and the survey map were not crystal clear to me. Are they talking about just up to that first dog leg? Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's just the straight part. Okay.
The only thing that we would have to consider is a turnaround for the town trucks. It's a pretty straight stretch through some business areas and it serves some homes out there. We just have to look at a turnaround.
Yeah, it's 60 feet wide, but it doesn't really, unless I'm missing something, it doesn't really provide clarity on how long that is.
Yeah.
200 yards, so right?
Yeah, it's probably a good 140 yards, maybe.
Okay.
This is what's identified on the survey as lands of Pellerin?
That's my understanding, Jim, or Joe.
That's what originally was, Joe.
Yeah.
I believe now it's, the owner is,
Joe Howard. Now
Joe Howard owns that 60-foot swath.
thank you. Okay. Any other questions from the board? If not, Nancy Liberatore?
Thank you. I believe that Mr. Howard and Mr. Kupfer were planning to be here, but I think they were told 8 p.m. to be here, so we're a little bit ahead of schedule, so they may come in the door. But my concern as the new owner, my husband and I, of the Hydeville Plaza, is that the board many years ago, prior to my ownership, granted an Act 250 permit which incorporated islands as well as turnaround spots that came out into that 60-foot space, which at that time apparently there was no problem, but now that Mr. Howard owns it, it's become an issue, and we're not able to become compliant with the Act 250 permit. I've gone over that with Mike, and I'm happy to bring those documents at the next meeting when it comes back before the board so that everybody has a full picture of that. But, you know, we are both working, as the new owners of Hydeville Plaza, hopefully you guys have noticed, to bring it up to standards and really be a contributing part of the community here in Castleton and to make it a much better place. And I really feel like the town taking over this not only for our benefit and the 6 folks that are in the plaza, but Paul's Pizza and the neighbors behind that for many years have not had reasonable access in and out of their properties, would just be a huge benefit all the way around. So hopefully when we can get this back on the agenda again, and Mike's had a chance to partner with Dave, and I know you've spent a lot of time on this, and we appreciate it. So I look forward to coming before the board again, hopefully not too far down the road, because I've kind of got the state and the Act 250 on hold, looking for some sort of an amendment to a permit that's now been standing by for over 25 years, waiting for it to be closed out. But we want to be on compliance. We want to, make friends, not enemies, not just with the town, but also with the state. And hopefully the board will appreciate, our trying to do that. So.
Who would bring the property into compliance with Act 250?
We would. Mike and I would bring our portion of that 60 feet. We would install the islands. If that's what the town agrees to for the amendment, we would apply for the amendment, and we would install the islands and extend the paving to those islands. We're currently paved with new blacktop on our portion. We would extend our paving over to that portion so that it would all flow smoothly for not only us, but also the folks adjacent to it.
Okay. Any questions for Nancy?
Just a quick one. Well, first off, a comment. I think it would benefit everyone if we could bring that up to modern standards, and certainly willing to help you do that.
Thank you.
Okay, do you have an electronic copy of that Act 250 drawing?
I do, and would you like me to have that forwarded to Karen?
Yeah,
for
and then she could
distribution?
disseminate it to at least me. I would find that helpful to see a drawing of what we're supposed to be doing.
Perfect, yeah.
Instead of what we're
I'll have
currently
that
doing.
over to Karen tomorrow morning.
That would be great.
So she
Thank
can
you.
get it out to the board.
Thank you.
Certainly.
Thank you, Nancy. Anything
you.
else for Nancy?
I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Moving on to ARPA consideration of fire department scuba replacement. I thought that was scuba. You were doing some diving, but I guess
What do you
not.
ask me today? Who's diving over there?
Mike?
Well, actually, the chief's here, and I don't know if you want a copy of that to talk from, but they have a copy of the updated prices from Reynolds for replacement of the SCBA that didn't make it through the grant process. And I talked to the chief, and waiting to apply for the grant this fall, which I received an email today saying they're still willing to do it for free because they're the ones that made the mistake in the application this past year. But talking with the chief, he has concerns about whether or not this waiting a year to find out if we got them, because you apply in a year, you won't find out until after the turn of the next, in the calendar year. So I applied in November timeframe, and we would know sometime, what time they normally.
Usually, it's around this time of year that they start doing the awards. I don't know if you want me to come up there or not.
Please
Yeah,
do,
if you
please do.
You want a copy of this or no?
Yeah, that,
It just has
that's got all the new number.
Yeah, it's just, sorry.
We've applied 5 years now, I think it is, for SCBA's. My assistant chief, Dan, has done them 3. I think you did part of them on 1 year, Mike, and then now through the grant writer. Our current SCBA's, 10 of our current SCBA's are not in compliant with federal regulations. If, God forbid, something ever happened, I don't know where that holds us responsible, because we know it. It's not that we don't know it. Waiting another year to maybe get a grant, I just think we've waited long enough, and I'm hoping the board would be supportive of applying, putting some ARPA, taking the ARPA funds in, doing the 15. We have 20 now, air packs, and that's what the original grant was for. And if I can explain this right, the grant was for a lot more money than what we're asking for, because the government says you have to get 2 bottles with every pack, you have to get spare masks for every pack. So they set some standards what you gotta get. So the grant was a lot higher number than what you're presented with. But I think we could wait on the air compressor portion of the grant that we applied for and have them reapply for that. But the packs, I think, is something that we really need to bring to the forefront.
Heath,
Yes.
what is the total amount here? Do we add up this column?
The original quote had that on. It was like 100 and, it was for 15 packs, 25 masks. That's why I asked if you had the original one there. The only thing it changed from the original quote was the packs have gone up in the last 90 days, like $30 a piece or something. So I don't have the original
Can I have
quote
that back
with
and I
me.
can give him a number?
Yeah, what I was about to ask you, Chief, is this, we had this with absolutely no extensions on it?
The original one that I supplied Mike with had it. Before this was, Mike asked for an updated version Friday,
Okay.
and that's what the new pricing quote was on Friday. And the original ones, we had the price was 125,000, I think, but that's with everything going on in the storm, me and Mike didn't have much communication before this, but this is we can't go out to different vendors with, as maybe some of you know, MSA, Reynolds and Son owns the franchise in this area, so that's where we buy all our MSA equipment comes through Reynolds, so that's their current prices. Because we had this number before, and I know you would ask some questions, Dick, about where the packs were going to go and that kind of stuff, where we come up with that number, and I had provided that to Mike, and he said he'd got that stuff to you, so I don't have it.
No, I'm not, but, you know, this document that I was given in my pack here has no extensions and a lot of options, and I didn't know just exactly what you were proposing.
The promotion was for 15 packs, 25 masks, 15 bottles, the chest straps, and the rechargeable batteries. It wasn't proposing to do none of the thermal imagers or none of that
Those are the
stuff.
questions I was prepared to grill you with tonight,
Yeah.
but I guess I don't need to. So Mike's gonna have to provide us with a bottom line at some point, because we don't have that right now.
So what we have here is the cost of one.
One,
Okay. And you're talking 15?
15.
Okay.
And that's the outfit, the incoming truck with the ladder truck, you know, that is, so we have all the same packs on all the trucks. There is some value in one set of packs we have that we might be able to get return a little money back off the 5 packs in our engine 3, because they're not quite out of compliance yet. They've got 5 more years, I think, on them.
They're 2010, I believe. Does that sound right?
I think so.
Pretty confident.
They're 2 stages old, but they're not the 3rd yet, so they're still, the way the federal government read the thing, when a version of the pack changes, your packs can only be 3 versions old. Our main bunch of packs that we got from a federal grant 20 years ago,
Over 20.
over 20 years ago, they are now 3 versions old, so they're supposed to be technically taken out of service.
I can tell you the year and the month that we put engine 3 in service. That was October of 2010.
So that packs are only 2 versions old now.
But we have 10 packs that are out of date.
Well, they should be, yes, there are 10 packs that the government says we shouldn't be using.
Why haven't we replaced them periodically? A plan to replace them periodically?
Some of it, that's shortfalling. I guess I'll take credit on some of that. That is the point of the sinking fund I had reestablished this year. So the next time this comes due, we're not gonna, that's to put some of this money away every year, so when it comes to time, the next time, that we're not sitting here with no money to deal it with. That was the point of that exercise. Probably should have tried to do it 15 years ago, and we'd have had some money sitting there, but it didn't get done, Jim.
Okay.
Jim, to be fair to the chief, it's been 5 years, he's been trying to get grant money to solve this problem, and so far we're owed 5. Does that sound about right?
Okay. Anything else, Heath?
Nothing for me right now. Nothing for me. Mike's working on crunching the numbers, so.
Still ciphering, Mike?
We have,
So I was hoping you could sing a song, or,
well, this,
I'm not much of a performing artist, so.
I would prefer that you took the time to make sure that whatever number you throw in front of us is 100% accurate, and this quote, this proposal is good until August 6th, so would it be okay if we waited till the next meeting to authorize you to order these?
That would, if we could do it next week, that would be it.
My inkling is to make sure that whatever we actually approve is accurate. Are you okay with that, Mike, or do you want to proceed tonight?
well, you keep talking, I'm okay with, if that's what you want to do.
If you would like an accurate number from Reynolds, the last time he did the quote, he provided what I'm telling you, 15 packs. He had the quote there. It changed, like I said, it was Friday afternoon, 3 o'clock, and like I said, it was, I was surprised we got the updated number sheet at all.
And there isn't any other supplier?
This MSA has to go through Reynolds.
Okay.
They own the franchise. Is it the franchise in this? Is that how you say that? They're single source vendor for an MSA pack.
Even if you found another vendor, which you can't, they would give you the same price.
And why I'm proposing to stay with MSA, the air bottles we've been replacing like 6 or 8 air bottles every year. If we go to say Scott's, then them air bottles all got to go because you can't hook them air bottles on a Scott pack.
They made sure of that.
No.
It's illegal.
I got it.
And there's really only 2 sources, Scott and MSA, right?
There's Dragger and Survive Air, and they're all the same thing. You've got to have you're supposed to have their bottle in their pack.
Okay. So is it agreeable to the board that we hold this over to the 24th?
Well, not if
Have some
Mike,
accurate information?
only if Mike is not 100% confident in about what he's about to tell us.
Two calculations away from you. Since you're not doing the thermal imaging, right?
No thermal imaging.
Joe?
Yes, I'm more comfortable trying to do this without the pressure of
Or if you
us
can
staring at them.
Even if you throw it in Reynolds Court and let them give you a quote.
That's fine. I'll just, you know, I just added up, it's about 146,000, a little over 446,000, but I'll verify that.
Okay. Okay, thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Let's as soon get this right.
Okay, moving on to the manager's report. Any questions for the manager?
Mike, did you bring reports with you? Because I didn't get up to get one. And there wasn't.
Here's one.
Okay.
If I can't, no, sorry.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Howard is here now. I don't know if he has anything to add to the
Thank you.
discussion about the road.
Do you have anything you want to say about the road?
I'll speak for a couple of minutes.
Okay, you got 2 minutes, Joe.
2 minutes? Just real quick and to the point, I think it would be, it
Joe,
would create some...
can you come up to the podium, please, so the Zoom recording can pick up your voice? Hate to make you walk any more than we have to.
Yeah, I
but-
don't get around to you guys, I apologize for that.
No.
So, you know the property, you know the proposal. It is chaos, but I won't talk about that. I'll talk about going forward. I have a potential to put 11 new homes there. We're working on number 4 now, so we're creating a pretty nice tax base. And it's just complicated, and it will continue to complicate the ability for me to sell any more homes because of the maintenance and the ownership issue. And plus, we've talked with the fire district about potential connecting. There is a fire, there's a headed bordered way right on my property border, and another one on East Creek right on my border. We've talked about that, so you know we need a relationship. And I think it would just be so much cleaner. It's straight, it's flat, lots of room to turn around, and I have you know, I'm prepared to spend the money legally to decide what's right out there, what's not. I mean, I have to, it's my livelihood, but I prefer not. And I think this, the road would benefit so many businesses and people there.
Did Nancy fill you in on what the board decided to do?
She said the next meeting or something?
No, to have Mike and Dave Fabrice, the Director of Public Works, go down and examine the site and come back to the board.
Yeah, and I'm good with that, Mike.
Dave just wasn't read into it, so they asked Dave, so if I sit down with Dave and we come up with a proposal, then we bring it back to the board.
We'd like to, I mean, I'd like to look at it. I know it's gotta come to standards, I understand all that, but I'd like to have the opportunity to say, yeah, you know what, maybe Joe, go take a look and see what you can do. That's all. I would appreciate that.
Joe, we certainly want to work with you to make this happen. I think it's in everyone's best interest to do that.
Thank you, Joe.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, manager's report, Mike?
Well, now, Mary Lee has my copy, so do you have any questions on anything that's in yellow?
That's why we took your copy, Mike.
Review.
Let's see.
When I went through it, nothing jumped out at me that we needed to, but you may want to throw some bullets out there for the minutes.
The first page, it's pretty, I don't think there's anything, we're dealing with the transportation alternative for the bike and ped grant. We've applied, we're waiting to hear back from them. Parsons Hills, the only thing I need to do on Parsons Hills is put together the bid packet. And I was hoping to have that up by tomorrow, but the weather today, chasing around storm stuff's kind of screwed me up. So it may not get out tomorrow, but this week to get that bid packet out. On page 2, grants and aid for Griffin Road. I spoke to Dave, and I'm proposing, if everything else is going on, we wait until the week of 18 September. Gives us 2 weeks, basically, or 8 days to complete that project. Well, and I shared with you guys, with the board, I'm sorry, about the trestle, that possibly there was never an agreement made with the town and the railroad, and that they're gonna be responsible for that culvert and whatever method or means they choose to fix it. And I'm hoping that's what happened, and that they're responsible to take care of that. Just waiting to hear back on whether any more or they've searched and exhausted their search for documentation. I did meet with Tim Rice from Wilk Paving today, and we went to I've been getting a lot of complaints about the trestle and how rough it is underneath there, and we measured it out today. It's in the bid packet. We're gonna continue to drive on with that unless V-Trans and through the railroad and the railroad guys say, yeah, we're gonna come in next week and fix it, which I highly doubt. But we gotta fix that before winter, because that's gonna jar people's fillings out of their head. So definitely have to get that fixed. Eaton Hill West, that grant was completed. I went up today with Dave, took a look at it. Our highway crew did a really amazing job up there. If you're ever in the area of Eaton Hill West, which is off from North Road, you drive about half a mile, you can't miss the work they did. And they did the same thing on Minor Hill over on Pond Hill. And when Alan Mays came through from the state, he said this should be the standard that people should follow. So kudos to our highway crew for what they did there.
I was up there last week and it looks really good.
Yeah, they did a good job. Still looking for a roll-off truck. Every time I'm going back and forth with Todd Boutwell and we find something, it's sold. It gets sold. So we're still actively looking to find something to replace the Freightliner. I believe I shared with everyone about the schedule for construction on the solar project up on East Hubbardton Road, where Rutland, Marble, and Granite is. And I was talking with Jim Thomas today, and they originally got their funding, and now we got the letter saying they're going to begin construction. So that is moving forward. The wastewater treatment facility, we're a little behind schedule right now because of the SBR tanks and some parts. So we had a meeting, we had a discussion today, and now that second week of August is probably gonna bleed over into probably the third, maybe even the fourth week of August for to reach substantial completion. I believe I shared with the select board that the bond capacity, at $2.5 million bond, if you choose to replace the Prospect Point or the pump station up on Bombazine, that it would qualify under that bond capacity. So it wouldn't have to use ARPA funds, it wouldn't have to use sewer reserve, all of it. I don't think it'll pay for all of it, but I'm waiting for numbers. I don't have an updated estimate on that. And I spoke to Jason Booth today from Aldrich and Elliott, and he knows they owe it to us, so I'm just waiting on that. The trailer-mounted generator for Sucker Brook Pump Station has been received by Brookfield, and the proposed delivery and installation date is either July 18th or 19th. I bet they wish they had it today. Speaking of sewer, with the storm that we experienced over the last 48 hours, last night there was a power outage on 4A, just east of Dollar General, right before Sand Hill Road. The pump station down by the river, by the railroad tracks, one leg of that power failed, so the generator wouldn't run. So we had to have a pump truck come in and haul back and forth to the plant. And by, it was probably 9:30 or so, they got the generator running again. And then they got prime power back somewhere around 11:30, I think. So we experienced that the capacity in that holding tank was about 18 inches from overflowing. So Russ and Jeff both were here, and Dave, and they were able to avoid a problem there. We talked earlier about the sewer expansion stuff. I met with Tim Rice on paving. They want to start early on Drake Road. I told them I don't have a problem with that. I just need a couple days to be able to warn the public and get something out there through social media, put something in the paper, letting people know that there's going to be a disruption on Drake Road for a period of a day or maybe two. And we went on Rice Willis Road and looked at some issues with sagging in the road, and talked about shimming that and making it so that the heavier trucks and plow trucks don't get sucked into guardrails, because that's kind of what, can be hairy for the drivers of those bigger trucks. Little Rutland Road. Hopefully that sounds like it's hopefully a done deal, besides a long-term agreement about burdening the easement, and that's through our attorney. We got our excavator back. Still some problems with hydraulics, but it works, or I'm told it works. We'll deal with the hydraulic problems back here, but it cost us $1,800, because on the way back, when Mike Smith had it on the trailer, they blew 2 tires, and he was stuck beside the road, and they were calling around. They finally found Jimmy's tire repair shop that come out and had fixed it and had to replace all this stuff. So it cost us $1,800. But it's back now. Update from the storm. We really didn't experience much in the way of, we didn't have any road washouts. We got some shoulders that heavy rains running down the side of the road have caused some issues there, but nothing that makes the road impassable. So once the weather's better, we're going to have to get out there and make some repairs. But overall, our roads have held up good, or well, and we've got another probably 24 hours or so to see what the river capacities and the streams are. But all those small streams, they're all contained. They're in their banks. They're not wreaking any havoc like they did in 19. On the fire, I'm on page 7. The fire station. We have a serious issue with the fire station roof. It's leaking like crazy. I've had people up on the roof looking at it, and there's just an argument about what it is, how it got there, who's gonna fix it. So Mickey can't do it, Seth Durfee is taking it on, but with the weather, he's not gonna open up the roof. But McClure's, we're gonna come in with a lift and take that sheetrock down on the apparatus bay and find out where this water's coming from, because it's causing some good damage. I say good in a bad way.
So Seth is actually gonna go up there and fix it eventually?
Yeah. The ridge cap's still missing.
Yeah.
But I was told it was weather tight, and I believed it, and
I think there's some boot issues up there too.
yeah, that's what's in debate right now. I think Pete told you, Chief told you that they're doing the TSA fingerprinting now over at the PD. And he gave me an update that the new cruiser is scheduled to be delivered in September. Fire department, ground ladder and aerial ladder testing and the pump testing was complete, and hose testing is scheduled for the 17th of July, and that was part of the carryover encumbrance, so we should be well within a year's time frame of using that money. I did ask Chief Goyette to bring back the proposal to replace engine 6 before the Public Safety Committee, where it's like $100,000 more than it was when they first proposed it, and I think waiting longer the cost is not gonna go down, and it just keeps depleting their reserves of what they have to buy the truck if the select board so chooses to approve it. But I asked them to bring it back before the Public Safety Committee, so we'll follow up with Jim and Dick about that.
We're still Public Safety Committee.
Oh my God, wonder.
Yeah, you're still. Utility pole at the park and ride. I talked to Erica. They're hoping this week, weather dependent, what they're chasing around, but they get that pole installed, the lights. And line striping is continued. I'm trying to get that scheduled, but a lot of it has to do with paving, so we can't paint the roads and then pave over it. That's to be foolish. We met with Tom Kearns today, and Dave met with him earlier. Looking at today, we're looking at having it cambered by our wastewater folks, and then looking at see what it costs to get it slip lined if there's issues in there, and then waiting back from stormwater mitigation options from the engineer for Crystal Haven West. I did take a ride with Charlie Brown. He showed me the Bryce Willis. We're dealing with that. Now we come to the old problem trees. If you take a ride around town, you'll know exactly what I mean. We have trees that are just a nuisance, dead, dying, hanging in the roads. Right? We haven't had anybody trim these trees the height from the road up. Now they're hanging down, hitting trees, or hitting trucks and buses and even cars at some points. How it's grown over. So what I put in my report to you is either I'm asking for help with this, either some form of money or just let me overspend the line. I don't have a number to give you because it's not gonna be cheap. But we have the money in the highway carryover or unassigned carryover that if, at the end of the year, if we exceeded the budget, we could cover it.
Wasn't there a number in your report? Didn't I read that?
24,000. And I think 24,000 is low, but that would give me a start on this thing and get some estimates from contractors and at least hit the most problematic areas. Because this storm still knocked trees into the road we're picking up that we knew that we have to take down, but we don't have the capability ourselves to do it.
So if you contact these vendors, would they be willing to come out and give you a estimate or
They will. Yep, so I was gonna put a bid packet together and at least get a number back to bring to the board, so before you make a decision on it, but I don't see a way out of it besides either stealing money internally from the highway department budget or asking the select board to use ARPA funds, because there isn't any other way.
Well, let's at least find out if we can start figuring out how long that ball of string is.
Yep, I will do that. And that concludes my...
Any questions for Mike?
Have that back, Mike?
Oh, sure.
He's answered all of my questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Mike. Moving on to the purchase orders for approval.
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Well, we should have two.
I have one.
Here.
I now have two. Yeah, I didn't have this one. Oh, that's right, we knew this was coming. Okay, I make a motion, we approve purchase order 050480 to Brookfield Services for the generator for the Sucker Brook Station for $40,500.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion.
This
Seeing
is the-
none.
This is the one we've already discussed several times,
Yeah, I
correct?
know. Okay. All those in favor of approving the purchase order indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed? Motion passes. You have one more there.
Make a motion, we approve purchase order number 050184 for, are these hazardous or flammable liquid cabinets? For two, a 90-gallon and a 30-gallon flammable liquid cabinets and eyewash transfer for a total of $30,619.65.
Is there a second?
Is it 30 or 3?
Yeah, it could be 30.
Allison? Was that you?
This says 30, you tell me what that number is.
Yeah.
That's not 30,000.
No.
No,
$3,000.
$3,619.65.
I thought that's what did it's not what,
No, you said 30.
oh, sorry.
And that's coming out of the passive grant.
So I'll clarify my motion as $3,619.65.
That is different.
Good cabinet.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. I
Can we
read
check-
3,600 and
Can we turn down the air conditioner just a little bit? Please.
Joe figured it out last time.
That's why I wrote a long,
The yellow button, it goes
long sleeve shirt
OFF.
today.
Straight at me.
I was,
What's that?
Can I see the purchase order or copy of the first one? The Brookfield.
certainly.
Should I have the description?
Yeah, I didn't have one in my packet either.
Thank you, Joe.
I'm ready for warrants if you are, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman is ready.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion, we approve purchase order number 0710R for $40,500. Purchase order number 0710,
Excuse me, they're not purchase orders.
or warrants, I'm sorry. Let me start over. Warrant number 0710R for $40,500. Warrant 0710 for $406,552.23. Warrant 0706 for $6,592.95. Warrant 0629 for $27,242.64. Warrant 0629P for $20,081.41. And warrant 0706P for $20,538.97.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Discussion. Seeing none, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
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 I'm gonna make
Motion passes.
I'll make a motion, we approve purchase order number 0710S for $104,080.
Excuse me. You put 1,000 in there.
Wow, $104.80. What is wrong with me tonight, Joe? Can't
I
read.
abstain, or I recuse myself, excuse me.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
And a second? Discussion? If not, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
I move that we approve warrant number 00630P for $612.53, and warrant number 00707P for $610.23.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second? Discussion?
I recuse myself.
You recuse yourself? Joe?
I have a question for Melanie, presumably. This is a different format. Normally, we get a format that includes 4 letters and sometimes a number, 4 numbers and a letter. And this is 5 numbers and a letter. Is there a reason for that difference in format, Melanie?
Is Melanie still on?
She's on. Melanie, I don't know if you heard Joe's question about the warrants.
If you actually look, Joe, the cover sheet probably had an error with an extra 0 in each one. If you look at the detailed ones, I just check that. I normally don't look at those two warrants.
Melanie Combs, are you listening? She's not unmuted.
I did only check the one. I checked warrant 0630P, and that extra, there was an extra zero on the cover sheet, Joe.
Well, that's what I read into, in my motion.
I know.
So it should not have had two leading zeros. Is that correct?
I didn't check both documents, but in the case of 0630, that is correct.
So I think I'm going to withdraw my motion and instead move that we approve warrant number 0630P for $612.53 and warrant number 0707P for $610.23.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. Any further discussion?
I will recuse myself.
Okay, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Dick recuses himself.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, Melanie. Are you underwater in Blissville?
No, I'm on my phone, and it's new, so I had to figure out where the unmute button was. You should all be able to appreciate that coming from me. If all else fails when you're doing those, remember that cover sheet is just a cheat sheet for you to read from. The actual warrant numbers are on each of the warrants at the top. And my assumption, because I didn't prepare them, Penny did, it probably is just a typo.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks, Melanie.
Joe, I did check, and in both cases, there was an extra zero.
Well, that format has been consistent for as long as I've been on the board, so.
Yeah. Well, that was, if you recall, I found that error with the missing $1 million once. On the cover sheet. The warrant was accurate, but the cover sheet was wrong.
I don't remember that.
That was about 2 months ago, maybe. I didn't count them, but
There's more I gotta add to it now.
2, 3, 4. Yep, you got them all.
Got them all?
Here's your cover sheet.
Okay, thanks. Moving on, select board comments or concerns?
I'm good.
You're good. Mary Lee? You're good. Joe?
And I am good.
I'm good. Okay, brief recap, items for follow-up. Do we have anything on that? Mike?
I have some stuff. I just want to get here. Following up with Dave about the driveway or the road. Trying to find it. The conveyance of the private road. So I need to come back to you on that.
Yeah.
The fire department, I need to come back to you on the
Right.
amount on that.
You should have a complete quote in the morning.
Okay, thank you. And then I owe you next meeting, hopefully to set the tax rate in the homestead, non-homestead education assessment.
Okay.
That's it.
It's all on you, TM.
Well, I think in Zach Hale, somebody wanted a copy of the blown up, or you could.
Yeah. Yeah, be helpful.
All right.
I think Karen already has an electronic copy.
Yeah, I have
You
a
do.
copy of all emails.
Or I do. So, yeah, I got it from you, I
I
believe.
think I just emailed it back out again yesterday or today.
Joe?
Well, I was just going to ask, I should have mentioned this during my turn, whether, Mike, you think that the issues that we're having with technology tonight are weather-related or something else?
I think it's internet related because it's really lagging, and that's why it was, so I think it's related to it.
And would that explain why we can't get an image projected?
Yeah, I think it's slowing something down in here because everything's plugged in as it normally was, and it's just not reading through the stuff. So.
Well, just a comment, I mean, we spent what is for us a fairly significant amount of money to upgrade the technology, and yet there've been periodic, if not persistent, problems, and I wonder if the company that we bought this stuff from or had installed it should be helping us sort these bugs out.
I'll reach out to them.
Thank you. That's it for me.
Okay, anything else? Okay,
Real estate, right?
need for an executive session, real estate.
I'll make a motion, we go into executive session for real estate with the board and the town manager.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye?
Aye.